Shabbat Shalom, and welcome to Temple Kol Ami, whether it is your first time here or your 1,000th time here. We will bring in Shabbat together as one community with our opening song, Yedid Nefesh, on page 10. So it is with great pleasure when children of TKA come back for services. And so we welcome Zach and Ashley Morton to come light our Shabbat candles. Lady Morton to come light our Shabbat candles. Page 2. Yep, light first, blessing second. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And we wish you so much light and joy as we continue on page 8. And we read together, I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us and to bring that vision to life. And we continue welcoming in Shabbat with Lecha Dodi on page 20. Dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 pani Shabbat Kabbalat lechad dodi likrat kalai alalai 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 pani Shabbat Kabbalat shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad hishmiyanu el hamyuchad Continue with a prayer about all the amazing waters that we have and the rush of the water, and which is present all throughout the imagery throughout Kabbalat Shabbat. As the Kabbalists were ascending the mountain in Tzfat to do Shabbat, they would sing all of these songs about nature. And so we sing Mikolot Mayim Rabim, the voices of the many waters, on page 23. It's going to be in the second paragraph-ish. Mikolot Mayim Rabim Adirim Yishpereya Mikolot Mayim Rabim Adirim Yishpereya Adir Bamaron Adonai Adir Bamaron Adonai we rise on page 26 for the Chatzi Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם עולם ועלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקדושה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעלמא, ואמרו amen. We remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 28. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMorach, Baruch Adonai HaMorach, le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. We continue on page 131, the top paragraph, together. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars, creator of the tide of time and light. You guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. On the very bottom of page 33, Torah is what God has revealed to us and what we discern of God. Ideas and ideals, laws and mitzvot, our religious heritage. It unfolds our memories of Abraham and Sarah, of Moses and Miriam and the prophets. It is legislation and explanation, allowing questions that challenge, answers that inspire, all a quest for meaning. It is our way of life, a path for our souls, and the design for a better world. Please rise. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, le'olam va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha, ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'vlechtecha v'derech u'v'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Amen. We continue on page 41. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, a song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Continue with the prayer for shelter and peace. Ufros aleinu tukat shomecha. May God build a sukkah of shelter of peace over our heads, and it is on your handouts. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. continue on page 45 together. The top paragraph. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. And so we move into the Amidah, our standing prayer, and we will do the first 3 blessings of the Amidah together, and then I invite you to open your hearts with the prayers of your souls, and the rabbis teach us that no service is complete without the prayers of our own hearts. And so we begin together on page 46. Please rise. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Konei Hakol, Ve'Zocher Chastei Avot ve'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei B'neihem, Le'ma'an Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Mashiach u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rab le'hoshia, Morid chatal, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melech, Melech meinit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kadoshim b'chol yom yechalu chasela, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh. Page 62. we move to a moment of healing in our service. As we pray for those who are in need of healing, Adam Brooke, Richard Hightow, Sally Keaton, Lloyd Suter, and Judy Zimmerman. And to those names who are in need of healing this week, we add And so we take all of those names into our hearts, and we take a little bit of that nourishment for ourselves as we are going to sing Ana Elna on our handouts. One of the original healing prayers from the Torah, when Miriam gets leprosy, I don't want to talk about it, but when Miriam gets leprosy, Moses cries out to God, Ana Elna Rafana La, please God, heal her. And so this melody has this feeling of water and washing over us. And so let this healing wash over us just as Miriam's water washed over her people. So I recently went up north to the UP, and it was my first time, and saw Lake Superior. And wow, was it superior. So as many Michiganders know, when you look at the Great Lakes, there's this feeling of looking at like a vast ocean, but it's all freshwater. So many of the t-shirts and slogans, which I greatly appreciated, were no salt, no sharks, no problems. It's like, this is wonderful. So the tour guides told us that 10% of the world's fresh water sits in Lake Superior. 10%. It is the world's largest surface lake, and with only 3% of the world's water being drinkable, and 2/3 of that being in glaciers, frozen, we're having a little bit of a water math problem already. So, disclaimer, Many of you after tonight are going to go home and say, oh my God, I can't shower, I can't turn on the taps, I can't do anything because we're going to have no water. Oh my goodness. It's okay, because we live in a state next to the Great Lakes, and we don't live in a drought zone. We can take showers, it's okay. We can take baths and drink till our thirst is quenched. In this week's Torah portion, Chukat, Miriam dies, and the Israelites were without water. So the rabbis then extrapolate that Miriam must have been the one giving the Israelites water throughout the wilderness. Not only were the Israelites grieving, but all for their healer and water bearer dies. It is an emotional and physical blow. In the Torah, many times we get the running complaining, oh, why do we have to eat manna? And oh, why don't we have fish like we did back in Egypt? Oh, I want to go back to Egypt. But never do they complain about not having water until Miriam dies. The water in the well that had been sustaining the Israelites all throughout the desert, giving life to the people and their livestock, cleaning their wounds if they were injured, basic hygiene, washing. There are 5 basic human necessities: shelter, food, clothing, sleep, and water. So the Israelites were without a basic necessity. They joined against Moses and Aaron because this is a dire issue. A human can only survive without water for 3 days. The Israelites are in the middle of a desert. They're about to go into battle on the promised land, and there's no water. Rashi then believes when the Israelites go to Moses and Aaron saying, hey, we need water, they're not going against Moses and Aaron and rebelling. They're just having a basic need. So one of my questions is, did Moses and Aaron really not know what their sister was doing? Did they not know where the water was coming from? You have a whole camp in the middle of a desert and you don't know where the water's coming from? So if your sister dies and she was the one providing the water to the camp, how is the camp going to get water? So luckily, they still had the rock, with water. And after Moses hits the rock, and at the very end of the Parsha, the Israelites sing to the rock, and water pours out of the rock, and they have water again in the wilderness. But unfortunately, 1.2 billion people on this planet live in water scarcity. So 1/5 of the world's population. Another 1.6 billion people face economic water shortage, getting water from the source, the river, the lakes, to the people. So some of this shortage is also caused by the environment and population, but some is caused by misuse and management. Leaky pipes, leaky irrigation in farming fields, and pollution, making the water unsuitable for drinking and for wildlife. So water in Judaism is a cause for renewal and purification and health. And we have hand-washing rituals. We were told when to bathe in the Torah. And before indoor plumbing, temples would always be near a water source so that they could have a mikveh bath. So one of the views, even in the Messianic age, is that the desert will be well-watered, and even the Dead Sea will become fresh water. And everyone will have enough water to drink, and no one will go thirsty. Unfortunately, there is no water from the rock in America. We are experiencing our own record droughts, and many states are experiencing a water crisis. The Colorado River supplies water to 7 states and Mexico. Nearly 40 million Americans get their water from the Colorado River. And when the governments rerouted the river in the 1920s, they never thought that 2 million people were going to be living in Vegas in the middle of the desert. So Lake Mead Reservoir, before they filled it with water from the Colorado River, was empty. They actually claim, when we went there on a trip, they claimed that the 10 Commandments with Charleston Heston were filmed there, some of the scenes from the Sinai. I couldn't find any evidence to support this. I still like the story, though. So Lake Mead is at an all-time low and is in danger of becoming a dead pool. So my question is, why did they create a reservoir in a desert? Lake Mead loses 6 feet of vertical water a year. 600,000 acres of feet of water per year due to evaporation. It boggles my mind. If they had put in an aquifer or a cistern underneath the ground, they could have easily saved that much water a year. But instead, we're losing water, clean water, to evaporation. The ecosystem from the Colorado River is severely impacted. There used to be shrimp in the Gulf of California, but the Colorado River now can't even reach the Gulf. It stops 20 miles short, so no more shrimp because there's no more fresh water flowing into the Gulf. California, because of its wonderful climate, is great for growing crops. But are they growing crops that are actually good for the area? They grow crops that use a lot of water. Why are farmers growing alfalfa in the desert? California is the largest exporter of almonds in the world. The desert is the largest producer of trees that take up some of the most water on this planet. And so why does this matter to Michiganders? Many of these states, the West, the Plains, Idaho, all have asked to reroute the water from the Lake Superior and the Great Lakes because they need it. And they say 10% of fresh water is sitting right here. We need to drain it and we need water. Thankfully, the Army Corps of Engineers said no, and it was unfeasible. So the Great Lakes are safe for the time being. But there is technology out there that can help. In 2016, Israel and California had a water conference. The goal was for Israel to share some of their water-saving solutions. Israel recycles 90% of its gray water. And gray water can be used on golf courses, it can be used in agriculture and water parks, and the Israelis created drip irrigation. So drip irrigation is when you have little black tubes that run all across your fields, and they have little tiny holes. And then, so the holes sit right next to your plant instead of sprinklers that spray over and get more evaporation. Water gets where you need it to go without being wasted. And a large percentage of Israel's water comes from desalinization plants. So we need to learn a little bit from Israel and try different things to put into action. So practicalities. We have enough water on this planet for 7 billion people. But we need to be sort of more aware of our environment. Should people have beautiful lawns in the desert, or should they have a cactus garden? And let's be aware of where our water comes from and where we use our fertilizer. Are we fertilizing to kill off water lilies in our ponds and our lakes so we can use our boats? Are we sweeping fertilizer back into the grass, or are we leaving it on the street to be washed away into the drain? And it's not without hope. Right? The pollution of the Great Lakes has gotten so much better. How do we know? We have black flies, and they grow in fresh water. But we can always do more, and the TKA Green Team has made a start, and they have many more ideas. So without water, there can be no healing and no hope for the future. The Israelites could dream and have hope for the future when Miriam was alive because their basic needs were taken care of. So we need these smart solutions to heal the environment and heal the people of the world and dream for a better future. So may the living waters that Miriam gave the Israelites in the wilderness come to heal our world speedily and in our time. And let us all say, Amen. And so in honor of the Parsha and in honor of Miriam and the well, we're going to sing The Water in the Well on our handouts, on the back of your handouts. So repeat after me. Spring up a well, spring up a well, and sing ye unto it, and sing ye unto it. Spring up a well, and sing ye unto it, and sing ye unto it. So we're going to do this one the first time slow, because there are a lot of syllables. Let Moses touch this rock, and water will appear. Well, Moses raised his staff in anger, and upon the rock it fell. And out came springs of water. It was water from the well. All the water in the well, and the healing in the well, the women in the water, and the hope that's in the well. Oh, the water in the well, and the healing in the well, the women in the water, and the hope that's in the well. For the memory of the women, for the memory of the well, for those who came before us, their stories we must tell. We are searching for the water where we wander, where we dwell. For Miriam and all of us who thirst to find the well. All the water in the well, and the healing in the well, the women in the water, and the hope that's in the well. All the water in the well, and the healing in the well, the women in the water, and the hope that's in the well. One more time. All the water in the well, and the healing in the well, the women in the water, and the hope that's in the well. All the water in the well, and the healing in the well, the women in the water, and the hope that's in the well. The water in the well. And so we continue with that hope for the future with our concluding prayers with Aleinu on page 282. And we will be doing the second Aleinu, I believe. I want to double check that number on that. 282. Please rise. Yes, the second Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ha'adon ha'kol, lateit gedulah le'otzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyei ha'aratzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, ve'goraleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim livnei melech mochei hamachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu noteh shamayim ve'yosei haaretz u'moshe mikaro b'shamayim ima'al u'shchinatu zo be'gad meromim hu Eloheinu Enon emet malkeinu et besumato kakatu b'torato v'yadata hayom v'hashevota el levavecha ki Adonai hu Elohim b'shamayim ima'al ve'al ha'aretz mitachat enon ve'ne'emar ve'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Please be seated. Page 291. There are stars up above so far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with the people we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly. Though their time with us is done, but the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. And so we mourn the losses in the last 30 days for our members and all the victims of violence here and around the world. We mourn the recent death of Burton Applebaum, father of Shelley and Steve Sabelski, grandfather of Kelly Sabelski, and husband of Phyllis. And we remember Gerald Gerger, uncle of Abby Pook. We remember the Yahrzeit yearly anniversary of death this week. Amelia Berg, Lawrence Behrman, Sidney Craig, Alexander Edlin, Herbert Felk, William S. Frank, Myrna Gelsey, Celia Hirsch, Benjamin Janauer, Louise Jones, Myron Joyrich, Henry Kane, Suzanne Kane, Lila Cole, Pearl Coatzen, Alfred E. Lakin, Mildred Lewis, Louise Lieber, Morris Schindler, Jeanette Schoen, Florence Sklar, Elaine Zach Trahey, Max Weisbrod, Bernard B. Wilder, and Robert Wolfe. And to any of those names we remember. And so we take all of those into our hearts, and for all of those who have no one to remember them, Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing as we rise together on page 294 for the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Kadal ve'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Be'alma divra chirutei ve'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Ba'agala uvizman kariv ve'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevarach le'alam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal Shmei dekudusha barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran ve'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Ya'aseh Shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Announcements tonight are brought to you by Sharon Spilkin, TKA Treasurer.
I guess I have a fan club tonight, so thank you. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We just have a couple short announcements. Rabbi Roman is coming to spend time with our members. He has scheduled 2 dates for programming. We have a lunch and learn on Monday, July 11th at noon, as well as an adult education program on Wednesday, July 13th at 7 p.m. Please RSVP to the office if you are coming. As of July 15th, which is next week, our service time will permanently switch to 7 p.m. on the 3rd Friday of each month. So instead of 7:30, it's going to be 7 o'clock. Rabbi Roman will lead services on Friday, July 15th at 7 p.m. On Saturday, July 16th, he will also lead Torah study at 9:15 a.m. and Shabbat worship service at 11 a.m. The following week, on Friday, July 22nd at 6 p.m., we will have our first service where we will welcome our interim rabbi, Rabbi Stephen Denker. Please join us for this first opportunity to meet Rabbi Denker. He will also be leading Torah study on Saturday, July 23rd at 9:15 and Shabbat worship at 11 a.m. Rabbi Denker will also be in person for services and Torah study the following weekend, July 29th and 30th. On Saturday, July 23rd at 6:30, we are having a Havdalah in the park. Join us at Heritage Park in Farmington Hills for an evening of fun. Bring your own picnic and we will make s'mores, sing songs, tell ghost stories, and please RSVP to the office to save your spot. Wishing everyone Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. So thank you, Sharon, so much for wonderful announcements. I have one more Rabbi Roman activity for when he's here. He will be on Sunday the 17th. We're going to be having a pub family night. So if you and your families want to come hang out with Rabbi Roman at the library pub on Haggerty, that I believe is at 7, but check the flyer just to double check my times. So thank you so much, Sharon. Thank you, Eileen and Jody outside for being amazing ushers this evening. And thank you so much, Josh, for manning the stream team. For those of you who don't know Josh Eichenhorn, he was here probably every service during the pandemic with Rabbi Gutman manning the stream team. So tons and tons of experience, probably even more experience than me at this point, because he's on year 2 and I'm only on year 1. And so thank you, as always, for your wonderful gifts and being here for services with us. And I want to invite Barry Rudnick up to help us do Kiddush and Motzi tonight on page 5 in our prayer books. Hamotzi lachem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Te'avon. And we lift our cup in thanksgiving. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchit lanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh, zecher mitzion mitzrayim, ki v'anu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kadshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. Thank you so much, Barry. And our closing song tonight is going to be on page 321. It is an old Israeli favorite, one of the other melodies that we have taken from our Israeli friends. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yetzir Nibrach, Le'ein Na'asa, V'chafso Kol, Azai Melech, Shemo Nikra, Ve'acharei ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא לי נוסף וחפצו כל אזי מלך שמו נקרא ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו ימלוך נורא והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה והוא היה והוא הווה בתפארה. And so may this week we be aware and appreciative of the water and the people in our lives. Shabbat Shalom.